Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Elise and this is 10 to Life, where we are talking all things true crime. So if you're stopping by for the first time, welcome, and I hope you enjoy today's case coverage and consider subscribing to the channel to see what else we have in store for you. And for all of you returning 10 to Lifers, welcome back. Happy to have you guys here today. Don't forget to do your thing before we start and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't, and of course, copy this link and share it where you can. It really just helps spread the word out there and generate awareness for these cases. And honestly, the more eyes that get on it and people can start to recognize behaviors and red flags and things to look for, all the better. So today we are talking about the updates in the case of Harmony Montgomery. Harmony was last seen between November 28th and December 10th of 2019 after her family was evicted from their home in Manchester, New Hampshire. At the time, police say that Harmony was living with her father and her stepmother and their 2 children. And at the time of her disappearance, her father Adam and stepmother Kayla were also reportedly homeless. Now, there have been just tons of inconsistencies in Adam and Kayla's versions of events from the very beginning. To start, Adam allegedly told Kayla that he was taking Harmony to her mother Crystal's house for Thanksgiving, but the timeline didn't add up and Crystal never even had plans to see Harmony that weekend. Also, the days and when there was a lapse of who last saw Harmony and when it was, it's just completely inconsistent across the board. They did not have their story straight, and that is just one of the many, many red flags and honestly blatant lies in this case. I have a playlist with all of those videos where we went literally red flag by red flag, inconsistency by inconsistency, outlining everything that has happened so far in this case in detail. So pause this video, go watch those videos. They are super in-depth yet a quick watch, and they explain all of the inconsistencies, all those red flags I mentioned, and then come back here and watch this one to see the updates. And even if you've actually seen them in the past, I encourage you to watch them again because it's now been a while since we've had any updates and since that search even happened at the first property back in January. So I would suggest rewatching them too, just so that you have all of the information fresh in your mind as this case is now continuing to unfold again. Because you really need to get grounded in this case to know what it is we're talking about today and to see the level of severity in this case. Because today we're going to just be talking about the updates. So let's get into it.
10 to Life with Elise starts right now.
The search for 8-year-old Harmony Montgomery, who was last seen in 2019, heated up this week when authorities swarmed the former apartment and home of Adam and Kayla Montgomery. Adam and Kayla have been the focus of this investigation from day one, not only because so many of their stories just truthfully did not add up, but also there were some big things that were red flags in this case. Kayla, the stepmother, fraudulently claimed Harmony for food benefits, even though Harmony was admittedly not even in her possession. And also, there was a long history of alleged pain inflicted on little Harmony at the hands of her father, Adam Montgomery. Prior to Harmony's 2019 disappearance, Adam admitted to his uncle Kevin that he gave Harmony a black eye back in July of 2019, just months after CPS granted him custody of Harmony, who was then just 5 years old. He had told his uncle, "I bashed her around the house," and that was after he had apparently left Harmony in charge of watching her infant brother while Adam was in the bathroom. The infant baby obviously started crying because babies cry, and then Harmony was holding her hand over his mouth to quiet him down. Now the uncle talks about all of what he has heard and witnessed in an interview, which I also covered on this channel, and that interview was mixed reviews, but also kind of telling in my opinion. So I'm going to link that here for you too, just in case you haven't seen it. Court documents also alleged Harmony being spanked very hard on the butt and being forced to stand in the corner for hours, also being ordered to scrub the toilet with her toothbrush. Obviously just unacceptable, and one of the primary reasons that Adam was suspect number 1, because apparently he already had this kind of horrible relationship with his daughter that it didn't seem like a stretch that he could be capable of something like this or be involved in her disappearance. Now, as for this week's search, authorities did not disclose what sparked the second search, but they did announce later this week after the search that the Union Street home has now become the focus of the investigation. There has also been a lot of chatter out there about if they had a search warrant or if the current tenants just allowed them to come and search the property. And I have been told by a very credible source that they did, in fact, obtain a search warrant, which really is not surprising in a case like this or any important case that you want to investigate, because you really do want to maintain the integrity of the evidence that's collected so that everything can be used in court properly and nothing can hinder the results or the investigation, or of course any future arrests that are made from it. However, that being said, search warrants aren't just issued because they are asked for, and they are not easy to obtain. There has to be probable cause, and you have to be very specific on your probable cause, on your facts and your circumstances, and what it is you're looking for and where, which means that something was either shared to police or happened that now sent police in this direction to get this search warrant and execute this search.
Investigators are conducting a new search this morning in connection with the disappearance of Harmony Montgomery. WBZ's Katrina Kincaid is live outside of the Manchester, New Hampshire home where the search is happening. Katrina, what are you seeing at this moment? What can you tell us?
Anna, so right now there are federal and state investigators. The FBI is here in Manchester. We're on Union Street. I'm going to step off to show you what we're seeing right now. Is they are at the home of Adam Montgomery, former home of Adam Montgomery and his wife Harmony's stepmother Kayla Montgomery. Right now Union Street as well as Orange Street is taped off. Behind this Manchester Police Department critical incident response unit truck that just moved actually closer to the home is an evidence tent that's green. They were going in and out of that truck and putting things onto the table before. There were multiple evidence boxes that they had all out. We currently can't see it because they moved that truck closer to the home, but that is what they were going in and out of before. People in various kind of white full-piece suits were coming in and out of the house. Now, Harmony was last seen in 2019 between November and December when she was 5, but police didn't know that she was missing for over 2 years. And right now, no one has been charged with her disappearance, but her father, Adam Montgomery, is currently being held in Hillsborough County House of Corrections on several charges, including felony second degree stemming from alleged conduct against Harmony back in 2019, and her stepmother Kayla was also taken into custody by Manchester, New Hampshire police last Friday and charged with 2 counts of perjury. Right now, there is still a $150,000 reward for any information leading to any information about where Harmony might be. We're going to stay on this, on what's happening here and the closure of the street and the investigation throughout the day. In Manchester, Katrina Kincaid, WBZ News.
Now, this was a large-scale investigation, not just your typical home search. Law enforcement officers from multiple agencies were conducting this search. Several law enforcement agencies, including the FBI, were seen outside the Union Street apartment complex where investigators were focused on this second-floor unit where the couple once lived. Law enforcement officials were seen setting up a green privacy tent during the search so that the investigators could pack all of the materials and evidence collected in a discreet way, hidden away because there was such a large crowd just gathering around the property. So they had this green tent set up to where they could actually, take everything that was collected, go in there, package it up, and evaluate everything. Not, of course, analyze the evidence, but you get what I'm saying. As all of this was unfolding, during the search at around noon, the FBI was seen bringing a refrigerator outside from the home and placing it inside the evidence tent. The refrigerator was covered in red tape that said biohazard, which means body fluids or any other kind of biological evidence. They clearly wanted to preserve whatever it was that they found and protect it from the elements or further contamination. Officials also delivered a new refrigerator to the residents, suspected to replace the one that they had taken, as new tenants currently reside there, even though they have now been removed from the property. And I don't know if they're back in the property yet, but they were removed at the time. Law enforcement was also seen removing tons of boxes from the property, as well as flooring from the interior. Now, this led many to believe that evidence may have been buried or hidden beneath the floor inside. A truck was also brought to the scene to do a camera search of the sewer line. So crews arrived and dropped a camera down into a city sewer pipe, while FBI agents went into the truck to view the images that were collected. Police Chief Alan Aldenberg left the scene and briefly had commented, "Hopefully will be done today." However, the search continued through the night and into the early hours of Wednesday.
Now investigators may have a new lead in the Harmony Montgomery case, 3 years after the little girl was last seen. Christina Rex is live in Manchester tonight. And Christina, I know you've been in contact with investigators all night.
Yeah, Lisa, the last police car left this Union Street location within the last hour, and they've been here since the early morning, focusing in on this apartment that at one point belonged to Harmony's father. The one thing that's not clear tonight, what, if anything, they discovered from all that evidence. As police lights flash across the missing person sign up for months, neighbors watch an investigation unfold. They pray the rosary, they lay toys, bears and balloons, hoping Harmony Montgomery will be found.
It's just sad. It's just sad to see the whole thing kind of unraveling.
The little girl was last seen in 2019 when she was 5, but was only reported missing late last year. On Tuesday, investigators seemed to hit a break, converging on 644 Union Street, the former home of Adam and Kayla Montgomery, Harmony's father and stepmother.
I think they have a definite belief that they are going to find something there, and I think they have found something.
Retired FBI Special Agent Jennifer Coffindaffer says the massive evidence gathering effort is a good sign. On Tuesday, FBI agents removed a sewer top and sent a camera underneath the road and apartment complex.
Because you're looking for any area where a girl of her stature and size could be secreted and hidden.
Investigators also removed a refrigerator from the property to be taken into evidence and brought in a new one.
The FBI cannot go into a place and remove items without replacing them. The FBI believes it needs to be processed for biological information and evidence.
So much potential evidence, it filled a box truck. A sign of hope, experts say.
They have to search using intelligence, and intelligence that they've received, in my opinion, has led them to this location.
And we are still waiting to hear exactly what, if anything, investigators discovered throughout their search today of this location. It is worth noting both Adam and Kayla Montgomery, that's Harmony's father and stepmother, they're currently facing charges unrelated to her disappearance. Live in Manchester, New Hampshire, Christina Rex, WBZ News.
Harmony's biological mother, Crystal, spoke out during this search, and she said, "This is rough. I know in my heart this is no longer a rescue mission. They are looking for a body." A horrible and heartbreaking realization to have as a parent, although I do believe many of us had suspected that this would be the road we would be going down ultimately. Still, it's not any less heartbreaking, especially for a mother to now have been holding out hope and now come to this realization. In a series of text messages with a local news station, Harmony's mother, Crystal, had also said that she hasn't been told anything about what was uncovered inside that apartment building, and that apparently nothing substantial was found. Although I don't necessarily believe that at this point in the investigation, they would be extremely forthcoming with any of that information, because they still haven't even done a press conference, which leads me to believe that they are still analyzing much of the evidence that they collected, so that in this press conference, whenever they choose to do it, they have not necessarily answers to provide, but more information to give to the public. So it's my belief that the reason they haven't shared anything with Crystal isn't because they didn't find anything or because the search didn't yield, many results. I think it's because they're trying to protect the integrity of the investigation and what's going to happen next, what the next steps are. After the search, Jonathan Miller, the adoptive father of Harmony's younger brother Jameson, told reporters that cops had told them that the outcome of the search would likely not be a good one. And Jonathan stated, "We have been told by officials that this probably will not have a good outcome, or not the outcome that we had hoped for Jameson and Harmony to be reunited together." Again, just heartbreaking to now even hear from the police that this probably isn't going to go in the direction that you had hoped. And in a very eerie thing that I noticed as I was collecting all of the research, the images, the videos from the search, I noticed a missing persons flyer for Harmony right on the window next door to the apartment area that was searched. Now imagine all of this time that the public is searching and posting flyers and billboards and, the public outrage about this case, all while the evidence and possible bioevidence was right next door. It's just something very eerie to think about, for me at least. Now, really quickly, I want to talk about Kayla Montgomery, the stepmom, because she's out on bond as of last week. So my hope is that during all of this, that she is being heavily monitored and watched so that this new search doesn't spook her and she doesn't try to flee because of all of this. I mean, that would just probably be, one of the worst situations that could happen is if she would somehow, get spooked by what's going on, scared she's finally going to get caught and her level of involvement, and so she flees.
The New Hampshire Attorney General says investigators have finished their search of a home in Manchester in connection with the disappearance of Harmony Montgomery. A team of investigators spent all day yesterday searching an apartment Harmony's father and stepmother previously lived in the Union Street home. Officials were seen taking evidence from the area, including a refrigerator, which they had brought in earlier in the day. Harmony was reported missing last year, but she has not been seen since 2019.
So we will, of course, be following this very, very closely, as we have been from the very beginning. And again, if you haven't watched all of those videos, check out that playlist. I'll link it in the description box so that you can get fully caught up and go along with us on the deep dive of all of the lies, the inconsistencies, and everything that we have discovered so far in this case, because it really isn't cut and dry. It is very complex. There are people out there who still feel that the bio mother, Crystal, knows more than she's saying or is at fault in some way, while many other people believe she is absolutely innocent in everything and that it was just, an unfortunate set of circumstances, that because she hadn't been around Harmony in years and seen her since, I believe it was Easter of 2019 on FaceTime. But it's just such a complex case, and there are so many different layers and players involved. Layers and players, that rhymes. But seriously, and like the amount of red flags, the amount of lies that are told, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper and deeper. So again, that's why I suggest that you watch those videos, because it either will refresh your memory or it'll catch you up to speed if you're brand new on this case. But as I mentioned, I'm going to follow it very, very closely, and I have got my, little, I don't know what you would call it, like your little birdies, like perched up, like getting all the details, listening. Some people who are in higher places than others who like to share details when they can. So I'm going to follow closely, and I'll let you guys know as soon as we have updates in this case. So again, make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already so that you get notified of those updates. I'm hopeful that after what felt like a very cold 6 months of no real leads being generated in this case, I'm hopeful that now evidence has been collected that will ultimately lead to either the discovery of Harmony and a blessing if she were rescued, but I think that it's more of a recovery at this point. But I'm more hopeful that this new search and new evidence collected will lead investigators to whoever is responsible, and that charges will be filed and stick on these people so that justice can be had for Harmony. To think that she has been missing for years now and nobody has seen her and nobody has found her, and we don't feel like we're any step closer as to knowing what really happened, is just devastating. So I'm hopeful that we're inching our way closer to that. And I've got to tell you, in my gut, I cover a lot of these cases. I am confident that we are turning a corner here and that we are going to have some answers very soon. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in with me today on these updates. I hope you enjoyed the case coverage. If you did, please don't forget to show your support for the channel by hitting that like button, subscribing if you haven't done so, and as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, sharing the link to this video where you can, because it really does just generate more awareness. It spreads the word, and it helps get more eyes on Harmony's case, and hopefully tips and answers come in, and again, we just get justice. All right, guys, thanks again, and until the next case, stay safe. Bye.